Hello and welcome to another tip of the day, and today I'm going to talk to you about stamping and die cutting together. When you've got something like a large stamp like this, you want to cut it out with a circle frame, for example. So you're going to have an element that's overhanging that die cutting, but in actual fact, if you look at this, how are you going to cut that out? So let me show you. So the first thing we're going to do is stamp our image onto some cardstock. So I'm just using a folding stamp platform here, and I'm using a VersaFine ink just for the detail so you can really see. I would colour this element in after you've done your die cutting. Make sure that's absolutely perfect before you do your colouring. So let's just fold this over and stamp this. There we go, pressing all over. Of course, with a stamping platform, if it's not a perfect impression, you can ink up and stamp again. So put that to the side, and then what I'm going to do is take the die that you want to use to cut out your image, place it around the design, and just with a pencil, just going to mark the line where the die comes into contact with the top of her hair there. So I'm just going to do a pencil line there, and at the bottom. So all of this section we're going to want overhanging the die. So the next stage is now to take a craft knife and to actually cut from the base of the hair just inside of that line there, and I'm going to just cut down like so. I've got a self-healing mat underneath, and I'm going to do the same from here. So I'm going to cut just inside of that line and go straight up. So now we've got our lips here. And what we can do is we can feed this through, of course, our die. Now, this is obviously too wide for our circle, so I'm just going to take this very roughly out. And I would actually fussy cut this as well later, so it's neater to the hair. But what I can do now is I can lift that hair over the die. I can now position my die around the lady's face, and I can tape down. Now I'm being careful because the ink is probably still a little damp. I've not given that chance to dry. So I'm just now going to run that through my die cutting machine. So let's remove this tape and we'll see the effect that we've got. Now I have got my perfect circle around the image. And the last thing I'm just going to do is take my fussy cutting scissors and go around her hair there. There we go. So just taking away the mess, we have got our perfectly framed face there with the hair overlapping, so we could have that as a perfect circle, a perfect square, perfect diamond, whatever you have the dies for. You just need to snip away so you can overlay what's going to overlap.